the glorious year of 2023. Now we gotta go back to last year, because to start the new year off, we gotta talk about this match. I've been meaning to talk about this. Delays happened, life happened, Alpha Club happened, and a whole bunch of drama going on in the wrestling community that made me want to go ahead and quit for like the 800th time. Because social media has continued being a self-deprecation of why I hate the wrestling industry at times. Luckily, I have my friend Fiendy. Anyway, so Kairi Sane, also known as Kairi now, was in the tournament to crown the first IWGP Women's Champion because, of course we gotta build that up. Because New Japan Pro Wrestling was finally deciding, oh yeah, we have a women's division technically since we bought STARDOM, so naturally we have to do a tournament eventually. And she would fight Mayu. I can't pronounce her last name. I tried. No matter how many times I watched the videos, I tried. I failed miserably. Please do not punish me for that. But it was set for the main event after a massive tournament that started all the way back in October and lasting up until November 20th, with a total of 4 rounds, and Kairi Sane even getting a bye because Kairi is clearly the favorite. In fact, when I first heard this tournament announcement, I was like, so can we just give Kairi the belt? Because, like, heading into this, I knew Kairi was going to be the one to win it. She was heading into this, she was going to win it, and we were going to get good matches out of it, hopefully. And we did, from what I saw, and based on public opinion. But it's really the main event that we're talking about. The main event to the New Japan Pro Wrestling STARDOM historic crossover event. Yeah. And then I found out so remember how I mentioned how Will Ospreay's match with Shota Umino was very odd with the crowd? Yeah, it was just after I had made that video, I found out, oh wait, they forbid the crowd from making cheering noises because COVID concerns. Oh god, I'm pretty sure even American fans would be like, you ask us for the impossible. Like, they'll complain about social distancing and think it's communism because that was a thing that happened back in 2020. That was the thing I have to remember. Because if I don't remember it, no one else will, and we'll probably have the same mistakes again, especially with his resurgence. But heading into Wrestle Kingdom, they're going to relinquish that ruling and let the crowd scream at the top of their lungs again. I gotta be honest, I was kind of impressed how much New Japan Pro Wrestling, how the Japanese audience were able to be more restrained and listen to the rules, whereas if we were doing this in America, this would probably end very badly. But yeah, Kairi, as she's known as, because she wanted to remove Kairi Sane from her name, because Kairi Sane was just because she had to get poisoned by the WWE machine. Plus all those attacks on Naya who had to probably hurt her psyche. So remember that month. But yeah, Kairi was the girl I was rooting for. I was like, yeah, she's gonna win it, she's gonna take the title, she's gonna go to Wrestle Kingdom, she's gonna steal the show, hopefully. She was gonna main event Historic X crossover. Yeah, it's gonna be an awesome match. We're gonna get some quality storytelling, and we're gonna get the commentators, English commentary, because I don't watch STARDOM because I heard they're all Japanese commentary, and it's confusing for me because I don't understand Japanese, and yada yada yada. So yeah, I'm probably screwed on that front. Oh man. But now with New Japan Pro Wrestling bringing their stuff into this mix, we could probably get some English commentary on some quality matches that have happened in STARDOM's history, and we got a quality commentary team for this main event, which goes over a bit of the backstory of Kairi and Mayu, and how Stardom almost went out of business at one point. That was a thing we have to just accept that happened. A bunch of controversies and all that. And every time I hear the word controversy, I'm thinking James Stephanie Sterling and the whole parody video they made. And that's what this is. It's an effing controversy about social justice warriors in Dead or Alive or something. But moving on from my fun, I honestly... Oh man, I still remember. I knew about Stardom. I just never watched it. It's kind of like how I could get in. It's sort of like my relationship with the Star Trek and Star Wars series. If I watched Star Trek first, I probably would have never listened to Star Wars. I would have just been blissfully ignorant about it, which should tell you about my stance. And whereas I look at Star Wars and I'm just like, I'm a fan of that. I could get into Star Trek, but I just, for some reason, prevent myself from doing it because I hate myself, I think. Yeah. And I kind of did wish... I kind of wished they brought up Hana Kimura, the wrestler who tragically passed away a few years back during the dark age of 2020, and my troubling hatred for how the legal system of Japan handled it that makes the American system look like they were saints, which is saying a lot. 50 cents. The penalty price was cents for a human life. But I kind of wish they announced this tournament as a Hana Kimura, memorial tournament, like this whole tournament, the IWGP Women's Title, and what could have been dedicated to Hana Kimura. But that's just my opinion on the whole thing because of Hana's impact and how she was the first, how she and her Stardom gals were the first 4 of them in this tag team match when Stardom got bought by New Japan. And New Japan would announce that they were going to have Hana and 3 other ladies compete in a kickoff match for Wrestle Kingdom a few years back in 2019 or early 2020, I think. It was just like, it just felt so important, and it felt like it should like, I kind of did wish they showcased that match. I kind of wish they did. And having Hana Kimura be honored in a way by Stardom in this tournament would have really helped. Would have really been like a tribute to what she's done and what impact she left for wrestling fans, both at home and abroad. And it makes me despair over the social media giant of Twitter nowadays because of how they reacted. Some of them did. And I go into an existential crisis and want to stare into the mirror for hours on end. Yeah. As you can tell, I already know that social media was possibly the worst thing to happen for Twitter, for wrestling. So, yeah. Mayu and KAIRI would fight, and they actually have an established continuity history that the commentators did go over briefly. About how Mayu kind of despises KAIRI because she went over to the Western world, and much like Hideo Itami, aka Kenta, was treated, but whereas KAIRI, in fact, I'm kind of surprised Kenta, I know they probably can't address it because they don't do intergender wrestling as far as I'm aware here in Japan, but, well, unless you're Kenny Omega, then we get to go all out with children and fight them. That was a thing when you think about it. I kind of did wish Kenta has a story with KAIRI where Kenta's kind of pissed that KAIRI and him walked that same path, but whereas professionally he was respected, but crowd-wise he was hated for going to the enemy camp and having the nerve to make New Japan third option for him, whereas KAIRI went to WWE and NXT and came back and is respected and loved by the fans. I kind of wish they kind of did that storyline now that I think about it. That actually sounds like an awesome idea Like, I know it probably won't lead to a match, but it could lead to something interesting. But, Kairi and Mayu, their match lasted longer than Will Ospreay versus Shota Umino by an additional 2 minutes. This was a damn good match. It was everything it needed to be, and I felt like Kairi was the right winner, not for my personal bias, but just from the fact that she's more mainstream and therefore could get more eyes on the company. Because when you hear the writing Kairi Sane, you're remembering WWE and the good and bad and the what ifs. Oh, God damn it! How do you not book Kairi Sane versus Asuka? A match that's never happened in Japan. I had to look that up. And you don't do the match in WWE. You had money there. There was money to be made. Like, Vince already screwed them up when he brought Kairi Sane up because the Bella Twins had to be out and we can't do Kairi Sane versus Io Shirai that Triple H spent months building up to, but now they have to rush a Candice LeRae and Io Shirai. You have money there. You have money there, Vince. You sick son of a you know what. Oh, God. Especially after Kairi gave this emotional promo talking about how she's ready to fight Asuka. Kind of hoping with Triple H running things in the creative department, he's able to convince management to bring Kana back to go to Stardom or go to Wrestle Kingdom and eventually challenge Kairi for the IWGP Women's title, or just do a dream match like they've done with Shinsuke Nakamura versus the Great Muta today. Yeah, that actually happened. The very fact that happened is surprising, though the Tribalists try to ruin it with all the fun because tribalism sucks. But Kairi ended up winning the match after a stellar performance with Mayu, and she is now the IWGP Women's Champion. And I looked at the belt; it's actually pretty good, a lot better than the Cody Rhodes neck tattoo had a baby with the Divas title belt. I will not forget what they did to that. I still miss the IWGP Intercontinental belt just for the fact it stood out with the white strap around it, the white and gold coloring. Oh God, how did they screw that up? That was a bad year. But yeah. And heading into Wrestle Kingdom this week, Kairi will defend the title in a historic matchup, which may or may not lead to some boss moments for us to see. Since it was said she is confirmed to be there in Japan. Kairi's set to fight Tam Nanako. If I fail to pronounce that name, it's because I suck at pronouncing foreign names a lot of times. But Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes, is no longer under contract officially as of January 1st. Yes! And she's been teasing on Twitter, on Instagram, I want to fight Kairi, and we're gonna fight for that belt. And considering it won't be for until, and since that has to happen after the event, that means this is not gonna be a one-time thing. She's gonna show up and really fight Kairi Sane in a historic matchup. But especially since you gotta remember, Wrestle Kingdom is this year is going to feature not just AEW wrestlers, WWE Carl Anderson, Stardom, Pro Wrestling Noah, and Mercedes, aka Hollywood, coming in to join the show. That's a pretty big moment. Wrestle Kingdom 17 gets to be basically this historic, epic crossover event with 5 different promotions, 6 if you count New Japan themselves. That's kind of a big freaking deal. And especially since this event is also going to honor Antonio Inoki, who passed away back in October 1st to start October off, because we have to keep ending the start months and years with tragedies, because depression is not a real thing to them, to the forces of nature. Yeah, sorry if I keep getting depressed and remembering all this stuff. It just keeps coming back to my head, and I can't help but think about it. which is why Hana Kimura bringing her up in this was just so like I just felt like this match was like I'm gonna be real. I never watched Hana Kimura's matches. I did hear about her great wrestling stuff, her content, the content she gave out to in the wrestling industry during her time, and to hear what had happened and how several people in the community reacted. Especially that was the year where everything was horrible, and we also had lost Shad, who died saving his kid. It was just a very emotional week that time, because Hana did get a massive honor for people, because she and 3 other women she partnered up with got to be the first Stardom New Japan crossover match. And I kept saying they should have aired that. It was a dark match. It wasn't on their kickoff show. I really felt like that should have been uploaded on YouTube or New Japan World. And to see Stardom now finally get that big push, it comes off bittersweet a little bit. Like, it's awesome that they're finally having New Japan Stardom crossover more, but it's also bittersweet because Hana's not there to really relish with it, to hang out with all these great talents and really keep stealing the show every week. And I did kind of wish they called this tournament the Hana Kimura Memorial Tournament, because that's what it felt like for people, because that's what I felt in my gut, that this would have been an emotional moment for a lot of people, and I'm sure it was an emotional moment for Kairi, for Mayu, for so many of the Stardom women. It's just, you just can't help but, like part of you just can't help but think about it. But, yeah, let's end this more on a positive note. Kairi heads into Wrestle Kingdom as the inaugural IWGP Women's Champion, and she will now also have the opportunity to not only bring crossover appeal with her past WWE connections, but now she's going to get more attention on her when Mercedes, the boss, comes in. And when that happens, all hell is going to break loose for fans. That's probably going to be my first Wrestle Kingdom video, because just the historic moment of seeing Sasha freaking Banks on New Japan Pro Wrestling is just so big, so important to people, that I couldn't help but wanting to talk about it, even though there is Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega. And I'm kind of rooting for Kenny Omega, despite what happened with the All Out Brawl Out, because Will Ospreay's probably is way worse than Kenny. Like, Will Ospreay did a horrible thing. Kenny Omega disagreed with CM Punk and start a fight. Tell me which is worse, and then you'll think. Like, I had to remind several people about this. It was like Kenny Omega gets into a brawl, Will Ospreay does horrible things, and somehow was never punished for it. At least Kenny got punished. Like, everyone got punished in that event, but still. But, yeah. This was my jumbled collective thoughts, and Kairi, Mayu, good as hell, the show performance. I'm looking forward to Wrestle Kingdom, and if Mercedes does indeed show up, that's gonna be like, extra, read all about it. Mercedes Sasha Banks has defected to the New Japan Pro Wrestling side of the industry. Tribalists are massively freaking out over this because they have nothing better to do with their lives, but instead favor a company that doesn't even care, that doesn't even know they exist. And if they did, they'd probably be saying that we at the WWE do not endorse these whack jobs. Because, oh my god. Like, I know Vince was bad, but the level of defense is confusing. So, yeah, this was Near Reality Entertainment, the WrestleVerse, giving you this starting point for pro wrestling as a whole. for 2023. I'm hoping for more content to come out for this year. I got to get back to my podcast on the Ariake Collective and get back in swing of that, because I had planned to do a recap and even a Game of Thrones themed episode, but just never stuck myself to it. This is why I do not make promises as much as I used to, because I knew I wouldn't be able to, which sucks for me. But we'll see y'all again next time. Probably Wrestle Kingdom. No idea, not making promises. We'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to writing out this all with you, heading into this hopefully much better than the last several years, but I'm not optimistic about that. 2023 or 2020 Part 4. So this was your host, Eric Brown of Neo Reality Entertainment of NRE The WrestleVerse. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my content in the description below. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you all again next time. Peace and take care, and have a good day.